He pōnei. Clean-up is underway for a yacht that ran aground on the coast of Alofi this week. Family and friends gathered to honour Tamakautonga elder Umusi Makani, who was laid to rest on Tuesday. And after 4 years in second place, Avasele have ended their long wait, claiming the champion title in the Toa Rugby League Nines. Ke he tauwhalau wakaha niwe whekai, whakaloflahi atu, welcome to BCN News. Leading news tonight, salvage operations have begun for the yacht Anastasia, which ran aground earlier this week. The yacht, owned by a Swedish couple, came away from its mooring on the coast of Alofi after days of strong winds and large swells, causing it to run aground on Monday afternoon near Kalaone Sea Track. A joint effort involving staff from various agencies, including Niue Police, Fire Service, Outside Service, Bulk Fuel, Department of Utilities, Environment, Transport and Fisheries, have been working to clean up the wreckage since Tuesday. This morning, a launch vessel, rescue boat and over 10 personnel worked together to remove the wreckage that got caught on the coast. At high tide this afternoon, they were able to lift the boat from the water. Meanwhile, debris from the vessel remains scattered along the coast beside Kalaone Sea Track. The couple had arrived in Niue on board the vessel from Aitutaki earlier this month, reportedly halfway through a 4-year circumnavigation voyage. A fundraiser is reportedly underway to help the couple by members from the World Ark crew who arrive in Niue this month. The Assembly's Public Accounts Committee has started the process to scrutinise the government's budget after the first reading of the appropriation bill passed in the Whono Ekepule last Wednesday. The bill outlines the government's budget for the next financial year. Here's Esther Pavehi with more on this story.
Minister of Finance Honourable Crosley Tatui, in his address at the new Assembly last Wednesday, says that the budget incorporates the lessons of the past and charts a responsible and forward-looking course for the new fiscal year. Tatui said the government prioritises investments in social and economic infrastructure to address climate change impacts and foster sustainable development. On highlighting investment in infrastructure management, the total replacement value of Niue's assets is approximately 200 million New Zealand dollars. The per capita cost of maintaining Niue's assets is 3 times higher than New Zealand's, according to the minister. Hence, the additional $5 million that will be required to support maintenance and development needs for the upcoming financial year. He encouraged fellow Niueans to continue to maintain momentum as we work towards building a prosperous, sustainable and resilient nation that can be shared with future generations. The government's appropriation bill is now with the Public Accounts Committee for review. It will be brought back to the Assembly for its third and final reading after the committee. Esther Pavehi, BCN News.
The community of Tamakautonga gathered to mourn the passing of respected elder and former assemblyman Umusi Makani, who died in New Zealand at 83. After being returned to Niue, Makani was laid to rest in his village by friends and family on Tuesday. Here's Esther Pavehi again with this story.
Friends and family of Tamakautonga elder Umusi Makani gathered on Tuesday this week as the long-serving ulumotua of the Ecclesia of Tamakautonga and former assemblyman of the village was laid to rest. Makani, who passed away in Auckland, New Zealand on the 5th of May, was 83 years old. During his time, he held positions with the Komisi Asihake and the Komisi Whakatonu of the Ecclesia Keresiano Niue. A promising political career in the mid-1990s was short-lived when a tragic accident involving Makani claimed the life of a man. Makani served time in prison, and when released, he continued to serve the village of Tamakautonga as its ulumotua. Due to ill health, he recently moved to New Zealand. On Monday, his family and a contingent of Tamakautonga people from New Zealand brought ulumotua Makani home. He was laid to rest next to his wife Maitungi, close to the church that they both served for many years, overlooking the village green of his beloved Tamakautonga. Umusi Makani is the father of current assemblyman of the village, Riki Muyaki Makani. Our condolences to the Makani family and the people of Tonguru, Tamakautonga. Esther Pavehi, BCN News.
A search is underway to find the families of 7 Niuean men who served as coast watchers on Raoul Island during World War II. For 80 years, their heroism went unrecognised. Now Niue's RSA is working alongside New Zealand's Defence Force to change that. Here's the story. In October 1915, 150 Niuean soldiers sailed away from these shores, bound for the bloody campaign of World War I.
If you look at the size of the country and the number of people on Niue, and yet we are very keen and very enthusiastically join the war effort.
126 servicemen would return home, but 20 years later, Niue would be called to serve again.
The 7 young Niueans that went, selected by New Zealand to go to be as coast watchers in the Royal Island, or they call it Sunday Island in those times, in New Zealand during World War II.
During World War II, New Zealand's coast watching network spanned over 100 stations, including 58 in the Pacific. In August 1943, 7 Niuean men were deployed to Raoul Island in the Kermadec, monitoring the Pacific coast for a year during a critical period in the war.
The contribution of the Pacific was hugely important, both in numerical terms, the numbers of those who actually went and served, but certainly the effect on a place like Niue.
But for more than 80 years, their service went unrecognised.
We have been left out.
Now Niue's RSA, alongside New Zealand Defence Force, is on a mission to award the unsung heroes.
No, I have no hesitation that there's a lot of exploitation, there's a lot of racism during the time,
Since 2022, New Zealand Defence Force has been working to identify Pacific Coast Watchers as part of its government's efforts to formally acknowledge the Pacific's contribution to the war.
It's a body of work and research that began with identifying Cook Island Coast Watchers, and that piece of research has now concluded, and their focus has now shifted to finding the families of the 7 brave Niuean Coast Watchers.
While little is known about the group, their names have been identified. Now Niue's RSA is calling on the family members of the Coast Watchers to come forward and receive their plaques.
Time for us to bring back, time for us to to look at look back, and also look forward to what's the best, what we can do now to fill in the gap of those missing things. For example, about these headstones.
As families of Niue's 150 World War I soldiers honoured their ancestors, RSA leaders hope to celebrate the families of the 7 forgotten World War II Coast Watchers next year. Moana Makapiluli, BCN News. A special ceremony was held at Scenic Matavai Resort to mark the launch of the Niue Kaina Development Trust, formerly known as the Niue Tourism Property Trust. The event also marked the 10-year extension of the hotel management agreement between Matavai Niue Limited and the Scenic Hotel Group.
Niue is one of the best kept secrets. I firmly believe that that message is getting out there now. We've had international recognition, likes of in the Times and CNN, and so there is some real keen interest on the authentic experiences that are available here in Niue, and we are here to foster and continue to grow those experiences further.
The 100% Niuean-owned resort will be governed by the new Niue Kaina Development Trust, comprising trustees Mark Blumsky, Chair Ross Ardern and Prime Minister Dalton Tagilangi. Matavai Niue Limited, with board members Ian Fitzgerald, Bill Wilkinson and Greg Murphy, will operate the resort, while the Scenic Hotel Group will continue managing it under a 30-year contract. It comes following $800,000 in renovations to its lobby and rooms. The resort is Niue's largest asset.
The purpose of the Trust is to benefit the community by contributing to the long-term economic development of Niue through the holding and development of tourism assets in Niue.
The event was highlighted with the unveiling of a commemorative plaque for the resort's founders Hema Douglas and the late Russell Cars. The Makefu Village Show Day drew large crowds over the weekend, celebrating 30 years. Visitors enjoyed local food, root crops, handicrafts and entertainment.
And we're here for a 2-week holiday. My husband comes quite often because he loves it here so much, and I managed to get away. And he's just retired 2 days ago, so this is our retirement trip.
Minister for Natural Resources and Fisheries, Honourable Mona Ainu, thanked the Makefu community for hosting another successful show day, while Deputy High Commissioner of Australia to Niue, Hannah Kent-Spark, took part in the Unga race. Haukupu will host the next Village Show Day next month. And to sports, after 4 years in second place, Avasele has finally claimed the Toa Rugby League's 9th championship title. The team dominated the third and final round at Tuasea Grounds in Haukupu, capping off a strong performance that followed their winning streak in round 2. They had a strong start to the competition, winning all but one game in the first round held in March. In the final standings, Tuapa took second place, followed by this year's newcomers Mutalau, who surprisingly pushed Alofi Mako out of the top 3. Alofi finished 4th and Haukupu rounded out the top 5. Congratulations Avasele and to all the players who took part this year. That's our show for tonight. For more news updates from The Rock, you can follow our Facebook, YouTube and Instagram pages, or you can check out our website tvniue.com. A special whakalofatu to our viewers from across the region and to our partners at Pacifica TV. I'm Moana Makapiluli, Nonofua Monuina e Po.